13 million scooters is how many scooters Segway has sold across the world. That's everyone with a scooter in the state of Illinois. And that makes Segway the #1 company for global sales of electric scooters. So why am I telling you that, and why should you care? Well, you should care if you're looking for your first entry-level scooter that costs around 500 bucks. I've tested a lot of scooters in this price range, and most of them do not hold up. They're good for about 6 months to a year, but then they tend to go sour. Segway is not one of those brands because they put their scooters through an intense, rigorous torture test, we'll call it. And the reason why they do that is to make sure that their scooters last. I'll talk more about that in just a second. Segway has also put some pretty awesome tech into such a petite, small, and affordable scooter. They got what they call Segride and Segrange. Segrange has to do with a long range with a faster speed, and Segride is all about the ride and the feel. I haven't seen any company put as much attention to detail into an entry-level scooter as these guys have. This is 600 bucks, and that's why Segway just continues to make history. Keep on raising that bar, up, up, up it goes. I'll get into all of that stuff in just a minute, but first I want to go back to the torture test. All right, so the first test that Segway has done is a 12,427 mile simulated random vibration test. That is quoting straight from their website. What that means is that they just bounce the crap out of their scooters. The next thing they do is a 400,000 cycle suspension test. Just beating the crap out of these things. Suspension is one of those things that you can kind of cheat a little bit. If you're a company that likes to cheat people, right? You just pick out the cheapest suspension front fork that you can possibly find, put a little spring in the back, and then market it as a full suspension scooter. And of course it would be full suspension, but quality is what you have to question. $600 scooters typically don't have very good suspension. But again, this is Segway we're talking about. So of course they have some awesome suspension. They got dual elastomer suspension. And I took some notes down because I don't know what that is. Elastomer is more of a solid rubber block than a spring. Interesting. All I care about is how smooth it rides and can it handle a few bumps? And it can, very well actually. Standing there talking about suspension is nice, but when you actually go and hit a bump like there and there, it's a beautiful thing. The ride and feel of this is just insane. It does not feel like an entry-level scooter. Okay guys, so that's the testing part of things. How about the tech side? Let's talk about that Segride and Segrange. What do they mean? Why are they there? And how does it apply to this? The first thing I want to talk about is Segride. And on their website, they get into some geeky, nerdy stuff, but they talk about how the stem angle, if you went all the way, down to the ground and it hit the road or the trail, we'll say here, and then they measure that distance from where the tire meets the road. And it was like 63 or something millimeters or something like that. But anyways, that distance is apparently good. The only thing I care about is how stable it is. This is the first scooter that I have ridden more than 3 feet without any hands. They also talk about how there's some built-in steering dampening, which is gonna give you a better stability when going fast. They also talk about how the handlebars are curved, gives you a nice, secure riding posture. It's got TCS, which is traction control system. So if you find yourself out riding in the rain, you should be okay. And that's pretty much it. So let's move on to Segrange. And you don't have to be too bright to realize that this deals with the range. In their own words, they say, our advanced motor and electrical systems work with a proprietary algorithm to increase your mileage by up to 20% compared to competitors with the same size battery. I do feel smarter for saying that, I'm not gonna lie. Proprietary. The cool thing about Segway is that they do their own range test. A lot of companies just put up a range up there based on the stats of the motor, but they actually don't do or run a test. Segway does. They say on eco mode, if you're a rider 155 to 175 pounds and the temperature is between 68 and 86 degrees with a speed of 9 miles per hour, those are the stats that you have to have in order to hit 34 miles. Now, I did take this on a range test. I didn't go that slow. I actually topped this bad boy out, and I got 6 miles. I had 350 feet of elevation gain, and when I got back home, half the battery was gone. If I would have kept on going flat out, that's gonna be around 12 to 13 miles with a 180-pound rider. In my experience with a scooter that costs this much, going that fast and hitting over 10 miles is pretty good. Okay, so that wraps up for the torture and the tech side of things. But what about all the other stuff that most scooters have, like power, speed, acceleration, brakes, and things like that? As far as power, you have a 400-watt nominal, 800-watt peak motor, and then you got 3 speed modes that you can change by just double tapping the power button. You got walk mode, eco, drive, and sport. I guess that's 4 modes, 3 if you don't count the walk mode. You do have to kick to start it, but it picks up pretty quick. That's 11, 12, 13. This thing has an incredible acceleration for how much it costs. Holy cow. That's 20 miles per hour and less than a block. Now, as far as brakes, you got regen in the rear and then drum in the front. You got one brake lever on the left side. And when you hit it, the tail light flares up. Most entry-level scooters would struggle going up this hill with momentum, but this is Segway. So we got to take it up a notch and start right in the middle. Here we go. Oh, it's gearing down and whoa. Didn't quite make it. Power cutout with a little bit of momentum, hitting that same spot right here. and easily makes it up. And now, in case you missed it during the acceleration test, this does top out at 20 miles per hour. Entry-level scooters rarely can hit 18. Well, here's the last few things I gotta tell you about the E3 Pro. First, it's pretty lightweight. It's actually Segway's lightest scooter at 40 pounds. Bam. And I've also done a new folding mechanism. You just push up here, this pops out. You push this down. It does take a little bit of effort to push it down. Locks to the fender, and there you go. You're off to work to slay it. All you have to do to put it back up is just bam. And there it is. Everything locks back into place. Tight. This has also got Segway's classic lighting underneath the deck with 265 colors. There's a headlight, turn signals. LCD screen is pretty bright. The sun is shining on it and I can easily see it. It can carry 265 pounds. It's got an IPX5 water resistant rating and it connects to Apple Find Me. So if anybody jacks or steals your scooter, just open up your phone
and find them.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys are looking for one of the best, if not the best entry-level scooters for $600, this is it right here. I've got the link in the bio. And if you want to check out the other scooters I reviewed from these guys, I got them up there as well. So go check them out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.